Hello, hello. Hi, everybody for joining in.
Hi.
Hi. Great. I think Arpita is here as well. Hi, Arpita.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. What's up?
Sab badhiya, you tell me. Long time.
Yeah. So yeah, I think 16 on call. Maybe what we can do till the time people kind of join in is I'll just give a little bit of an intro on what the agenda is. And then we can discuss improving it and then get started, right? The idea essentially is to use this as a way to get answers to questions around nutrition that we tend to have about our dogs, right? We've kept it very simple. There's no presentation, there's no deck, there's no talk that Arpita is giving. But we thought that her time is valuable as well. So any questions that you guys have, let's just straight up address those, right? Because that tends to be a big part of when we do these sessions as well. So how we can probably start is if you have questions, why don't you start putting them in the chat just so that we have a bunch of questions and we can start picking one by one. And as we get to your question, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question and kind of get an understanding from Arpita as well. Arpita, that works?
Yeah.
Sorted. Maybe, cool. So why don't you also start with telling people about yourself, how you got started with this, and what the best part of your day is when you're working on this.
Best part of my day. Yeah. So I wake up like early in the morning 6, and then I think till 12 I am constantly answering to all the messages that I get every day. Because
Yeah.
that's my top priority, right? Because the clients have a lot of questions. Some of the dogs, they have like some or the other issue. Most of like a lot of them are fussy.
Right.
So the questions are around that my dog is not eating this or that, and then appropriate, replacements for that kind of food. So yeah, some of the other questions crop up every day from different kinds of clients, and that's what I do. So this is the best part because that's my top priority, is that I am able to resolve all the issues around diet and nutrition and all. So I started with studying, I think 2020. And it was because my dog has had a lot of skin issues. So when I didn't want to give antibiotics and steroids and all those things, I was like, there's something I can do through food itself. So let me try that first before going through all these different meds and all. So I just started studying, but I had no intention to start Eternal Canine or do consultation and everything. So but when I studied, I realized there's a lot of misinformation in the market. Right, even through the brands or whatever, and that's why I decided to start with this, and it's been going really great since then. Thank God.
Wonderful. No, I think that's I think it just helps so that everybody gets context that the one thing that I kind of realized is working with people who are professionals in the space, all are also kind of emotional about the topic, right? It tends to start from somewhere at home. So it's always good to the human side and then get to the professional side as well. So that's why I like.
There are so many dog parents, the skin issue is such a, it's a pandemic. Right. Everybody, there's so many dogs who have skin issues because of some of the other deficiencies or atopic dermatitis, and people want to treat that through nutrition. Everybody knows the side effects of steroids and antibiotics and all, because kitne antibiotics khilaoge aap dog ko. There has to be some kind of a solution through nutrition also. Obviously, nutrition will not solve all the issues, but it will definitely help you resolve some of it, or at least manage. So I think someone
got to go mute themselves.
And there are so many also dogs who are going through metabolic diseases, or like kidney issues, liver issues, and these particular prescription diets will not solve all the issues that your dog is going through, because sometimes there are comorbidities. There is a kidney issue plus a pancreatic issue plus a heart disease. So how will you manage all these three things? Because these three things are like, they cut each other out. For example, for kidney disease, you will need a lot of fat, and for pancreatitis, you will need to feed lower fat. So what to do now? So yeah.
Awesome. बहुत सही है. I think मेरे तो सर के ऊपर से जाता है when you talk about these intersections. So I'm interested to actually see these questions when we get into them. I think everybody will get a little more understanding on how they impact each other and how we can kind of do better by using an everyday thing like nutrition. These things.
Yeah.
Awesome. Does anybody have a question that we want to start off with? You can raise your hand, or I mean, just like unmute yourself and ask. We don't have a specific order or anything, so whoever wants to go can start off. We can start off. Awesome, Richa. Yes.
Yeah, hi. Actually, I'm a first-time pet parent. I have a 10-month-old golden retriever. As such, there is no problem. But I'm literally like concerned about क्या nutrition देना चाहिए and how to be. I didn't understand कि dogs का भी क्या उनको रोटी देनी चाहिए कि नहीं. And there's so many questions in my mind. I'm completely confused. So can it be solved?
See, are you feeding vegetarian diet to your dog, or like what's the kind of diet?
We are feeding him NND dog food and bajre and jawar ki roti with dahi.
Okay. So if you are doing NND, you can do one time of NND, and the other time you can do like a variation of home cooked ingredients itself. Now, ideally, you should feed animal protein because plant proteins are not something that ideal for dogs because they will not receive all the. So basically, dogs will need amino acids from protein and fatty acids from fats, right? So for amino acids, you need to feed animal protein. NND is the perfect choice because it is very high in animal protein. Now, in the home cooked, if you cannot feed any form of animal protein like chicken or mutton or whatever, then you can feed a combination of maybe a little bit of lentils, peas, and some vegetables because they are high in phytonutrients. You can feed a little bit of fruits. You can feed paneer, eggs.
Which fruit?
These are the things you can feed, and try to add it. Okay, you can feed apples. They are high in insoluble fibers, so they're good for digestion. You can feed papaya, blueberries, watermelon, everything without seeds. And apple you can feed with the skin, but not with the seeds. So yeah, these are the fruits you can feed. Then you can do a little bit of vegetarian protein.
Banana daily. Can we give him banana daily?
But a small portion. What usually people do is they feed the entire banana, but yeah, don't do that. And since animal protein is very high in NND, then I don't think you need to really worry too much about the animal protein side. If you can feed chicken and mutton, it is great. But if you cannot, then don't overdo the plant proteins, that is the lentils and peas, because they can be cardiotoxic. So feed it in limitation.
And is it good for give them wheat roti, like with the roti we are having?
So there is a lot of debate about the gluten, non-gluten part, but I'll tell you that some dogs are prone to atopic dermatitis, right? And then they can have wheat sensitivity to the gluten part, and they can have sensitivity to corn part also. Now, luckily, NND does not have corn, so that's the part you don't need to worry about. But it is best to avoid wheat. What you can do is any form of moderate glycemic grains you can feed, like.
We are giving him jawar and bajra roti alternate day.
But isn't bajra a little bit of heating? I think the energetic is heating, so jawar is fine. So you can do more of jawar and less of bajra.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. We've got some other questions also. I'm just going to look through. Okay, the chat has a couple of questions, but I think Vandana had a hand raised first. So, Parna, we go with you. Vandana, go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. So, I'm also a first-time pet parent, mother of a extremely naughty and fussy Shih Tzu, and aggressive as well. So, he's turned 7 months yesterday. Previously, he used to eat everything that we used to give him. As in, if we gave him 10 meals a day, he would eat. He used to be so hungry. Now, he doesn't eat. So, giving him 2 meals a day is even a task. And the bigger challenge is doesn't chew. He gets very fussy. He'll not eat until unless I feed him with my own hands. So sometimes you have to spread the food on the floor so that he can start eating. Sometimes you have to feed him yourself. But that too, it all depends on his mood. So, if he's not in a mood to have an egg, he'll not have an egg. If he's not in a mood to have his dog food, he's not going to have dog food. Currently, I am giving him shakarkandi, which is sweet potato. I'm giving him his dog food. There was this meal that I had from Benny Bowls. I was giving him that. And alongside, I tried to give him some fruits. Since I'm a vegetarian, I cannot make non-veg food at home. So egg is the limitation that I have. At the same time, he has umbilical cord hernia, which will get operated later is what doctors have suggested. So yeah.
So Shih Tzus, they are fussy eaters up till a point. Okay. So Shih Tzus are like fussy eaters, and up till a point they will eat the dog food. After that, they will just reject. You can go to Origin and all, but after a point, your dog will stop eating all kinds of dog food. So what you will have to do is maybe try to change the how you're cooking the food. So, for example, in case of eggs, I usually suggest to do a soft boiled egg instead of a complete boil. What people usually do is they hard boil the egg and then maybe try to like scramble it and then try to add it to their diet. But try to soft boil it maybe for like 2 to 3 minutes and add it to their meal completely and mix it. Maybe you also need to increase a little bit of fats to make it palatable. So paneer is a good idea for that. Sweet
I was
potatoes.
giving him paneer, so now he's not taking paneer also.
Okay. Okay. So is there no way that you can include meat in his diet, because that is a palatable ingredient that he will eat?
Unfortunately, no, because I'm a vegetarian household and so in between, I had to do it, as in one of my flatmates did it for me because he was not eating food. The doctor had suggested to boil chicken, add chicken broth and chicken pieces in his dog food. That's when he'll start eating. So that is when we were still giving him soft, soaked dog food. So he ate it. Once we stopped it, he again stopped eating dog food. Then I completely moved from soft to hard dog food that, maybe he'll feel a treat and he'll have it like that.
Okay.
Because he's very fond of treats.
Okay. So keep changing texture is the only solution, like texture of the food. For example, if you're feeding rice, change the texture, maybe overcook it. Sometimes keep it a little bit not undercook obviously, but like change the texture and add different kinds of ingredients. You can try adding lentils and peas since you're vegetarian. You can try adding curd. These are the palatable things that you can try. Then there are dehydrated meals which are available, dehydrated chicken, mutton meals. So those can make it palatable. Since he was eating chicken, that is something that he might eat. Then there are non-vegetarian toppers also, right? So they come in since you're feeding dog food also, so that's how they will be delivered to you in a packet. So you don't have to really cook it or anything or store it. So the toppers also something you can. So for fussy eaters, this is one thing that you need to do is keep changing the texture of the food till you know what kind of texture they like. But that also then, if you're feeding, for example, soft boiled eggs, maybe for a month he will eat and then he will need a change of texture. So that also you need to be prepared for.
Hi, sorry, can I add in another question to that?
Go for it.
Yeah.
So when you talk about fussy eaters, is it possible to make them budge by being, strict with their timings, like give them the food for 15 minutes and like not give them until the next meal? Does that work with fussy eaters, or am I just shooting blank? Because my dog is also a very fussy eater. We're just trying to shift him to home cooked food and he won't budge.
Some fussy eaters are like, they're very stubborn. Okay, if you don't feed them for 3-4 days, they will not eat. It's not an issue. Like for them, it's okay, they can starve. But some of them will budge, and then if you don't feed them in the morning, they will eat in the night. If you don't feed them for one day, they will eat properly the next day. But some of them are so stubborn that they want that particular meal in the particular way. right? They need it to be cooked in that particular way. My own dog will only eat soft boiled eggs. She will not eat a hard boiled egg, no matter how much I force her to eat it. So the stubborn ones will not budge for sure. And in that case, then meat usually works because it is more palatable, but then not for all dogs. For some time it will work and then later on it will not. So this is one issue. So the goal in this case is to meet the caloric needs every day, right? So feed high caloric diet. If you're feeding kibble, that is great. If your dog is eating kibble, that means some of the at least 70% of the caloric needs are met. But if he's on a home cooked diet and not eating, that means he is not fulfilling his energy requirements for the day. So in that case, if he's eating paneer, that will be great because it is high in calories. If you're able to add some form of oil to the diet of eggs, that is great because that will also help you in meeting the caloric needs. But a carb diet or a high vegetable diet will not. So focus first on calories. The calorie के needs कैसे meet करें?
How many times do you think should actually?
I was not able to hear your question.
Yeah, sorry, I think yeah, you're getting cut off a little bit. Manna,
Saying how many times do you think we should give them food to ensure their calorie intake is maintained?
If he's a fussy eater, then feed twice. Just feed twice. Don't constantly feed them. Don't feed them treats. Just try to feed twice. And if you want to meet the caloric needs, then there are dehydrated treats also. Dehydrated meat treats like dehydrated chicken, dehydrated mutton. So those will also help meet the caloric needs.
awesome. Let's move on to the next question. There's one question that Anjal had, Arpita, around shedding some light on NRC guidelines and why are these more acceptable than others, say?
AFCO,
Yeah.
okay. So
First, like, is NRC and AFCO also? I think. I don't know, definitely. I don't know if everybody else knows, but it'll be great to even understand. Yeah.
NRC is this organization in US, National Research Council. So what they have done is many years ago, before formulating a proper or developing a dog food, they did research on different dogs. So they did studies, right?
Okay.
So they tried to restrict, let's say, protein in a sample set of dogs and see कि उसका क्या reaction होता है on the dog skin or health or whatever. Then they did it the same with fats, they did the same with carbs, then all kinds of macronutrients and micronutrients. So, and they did everything study wise and they have made a book out of it. It is available, but it's quite expensive. So depending on that, then they realized, oh, this is how much protein a dog needs. This is how much micronutrients a dog needs. That is vitamins and minerals. Depending on all the studies that they did for so many years. Right. And then they made a complete set of guidelines that this is the calcium a puppy needs, let's say 3000 mg. This is how much phosphorus will be needed, magnesium, this, everything is listed down. Right. And this has happened through years and years of studies on dogs. And then they formulated a dog food based on that, the first dog food, whichever it was. So this was NRC and NRC did it first. And what AFCO did is, AFCO did their own studies, of course, but the primary one was NRC. So from NRC, they have made their own studies and based on that, then the AFCO guidelines are prepared. So there are AFCO, there's FEDIF, there is NRC, there are more such things, but NRC is the first and the primary most. So I follow the NRC, but I also check for AFCO guidelines, but they are more suitable for dog food and not home cooked. For I think home cooked, the NRC guidelines are way more appropriate.
Got it. Awesome. That helps. And I think that answers the question also. Cool. So we'll go on to Manu. Manu has a question. Go for it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for organizing this. Like most, I think the question is coming from a first-time pet mother. Though I never understood, a dog can be as dynamic as, doing parenting to my 11.5-year-old. Thankfully, she's grown up, but I don't know whether Pixie will grow up. I have a Maltipoo who's 11 months. I keep hearing, fussy eater. Thankfully, okay. Some days, yes, but, that is how we are. I just want to share one incident, probably it can be useful to all, is that, without understanding the nutrition, and that is why I'm attending this, is, we were putting Pixie on a very high protein diet, and she's a little toy poodle Maltipoo, very little, she's just 2.7, 2.9 at the age of 11 months. So I think we suppose it's a toy category, so very, very small. So we were feeding her ke sara nutrition mil jaye, so hum boiled egg de rahe the, hum Royal Canine de rahe the, anda de rahe the, chicken pedigree de rahe the, because like Vandana, my household was not a chicken this thing, so we were trying to feed or find alternate chicken. But jab uska November mein, when she was 8-9 months, we felt that heat period bhi aaya and stomach got sensitive ho gayi. And because of high protein, she developed a very, very severe stomach stool mein blood aane laga. And stool bahut ganda hone laga, so severe stomach infection ho gaya. So of course we took her to the Max Pet Care in New Delhi, and they gave a drip and all of that, and gastro food pe rakha, jo gastro can aata hai. And since then we've done a lot of changes, and we're seeing the improvement. Now Pixie takes morning mein hum usko paneer dete hain jab wo uthti hai. So paneer hum with pehle topper ke sath de rahe the, jo heads of tails ka non-veg topper aata hai. So paneer dete hain, and then ek meal jo hoti hai, which is kind of a snack that we treat, is boiled beans, cauliflower, broccoli, ya kabhi matar ya kabhi hara chola jo hota hai, jo holi ke time pe aata hai, usko boil karke dete hain, so that the fiber goes, because now we more worried about her gastro thing. Second could be that दोपहर में अगर उसने कभी रोटी ले ली, तो अगर वो पनीर नहीं लिया तो वो पनीर ले लिया, and ऑमलेट दे दिया, या ट्राई करते हैं, but वो कर्ड and ये सब नहीं खाती है. Evening meal is fixed now, and I read when Sploot ka ek aapka comment tha, where you said that a dog can have the same food throughout the life, so we don't have to worry about the nutrition, because humko ye lagta hai na ki dog bore ho rahe hain. So now Pixie eats rice, chicken boiled, and usi mein pumpkin mix kar deta hai, so that it takes care of the digestive part. So just wanted to add, and ask that, she's 11 months. Many people say that, 2 meals are good enough. But, hota hai na, arey, kuch khaya nahi. So what is enough? And are we doing good enough now after a very, very severe stomach infection that she went through? That's my question.
If she had a severe stomach infection, then 2 meals a day is fine. And particularly since she's a little bit fussy. So 2 meals is fine for her, and she's 11 months. That means her growth is already done. Since she's a small breed dog, right? And so far as fiber is concerned, now she's had gastro, right? That means she has had that means she has had loose stools and all, right? So add more soluble fiber, because that will be more soothing for her. Don't add too much of beans and all these things, because they are a little harder to digest, and they are a little bit of higher on insoluble fiber part. So add soluble fiber, which is pumpkin, bottle gourd, carrots. These are 3 soothing, and even sweet potatoes or potatoes. So these are something that will be more soothing for her. In case there is constipation or something, then you can include more of the insoluble fiber part, which are the beans, flax seeds, grated apple with skin. So these are insoluble in case of constipation. But since she has had this gastro issue, I think the diarrhea will be a more prominent issue for her. But that does not means you feed a lot of vegetables also, because that can also cause a lot of issues for her, and that will also lead to impediment of absorption of protein, fats, and other important micronutrients. So the fiber should also be restricted. Depending on her weight, I can suggest how much vegetables to feed her. So far as chicken and egg and all is concerned, now you can try to avoid egg don't feed it every day. Maybe 3 to 4 times a week is fine. Paneer is fine since you are doing a complete home cooked diet, then you will need more fats, right? Make sure that the meals are balanced, right? Calcium is needed for dogs, so make sure you're adding either bone powder or eggshell powder or some form of calcium supplement. Then your dog will need proper amount of other micronutrients. Fruits and all are also fine. Add some form of seeds like pumpkin seeds or hemp hearts, but not every single day. Try to balance it out completely. I'm not sure if you're adding liver, because liver is a good form of, it's a rich source of vitamin A, copper, and vitamin B also. So just feeding like the chicken boneless part will not be enough. You'll also need to feed liver, but since she's a small breed dog, then 10
So
grams
we
will be
give her
fine.
every day a multivitamin. Multivitamin जो आता है bio का, BioBond का. So we give her multivitamin every day. That's one. And there are calcium bones. Like she's off treats completely. पहले treats was 10 भी हो जाती थी, 12 भी हो जाती थी, छोटी छोटी, but still of course then we figured out she's off treat completely.
Okay, don't go with the calcium bones. These are not good for the dog.
Okay.
Try to feed eggshell powder or bone powder.
Bone powder.
Yeah, there's dehydrated bone powder. It is available on Canine India. You can go for that one.
Canine India, bone powder. So you mix it with the food?
Yeah. You can add it like a topper.
Topper. Okay. Fair. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Okay. All right. We have some more raised hands. Let's go to Sarthak.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Garima ma'am, for organizing this beautifully for organizing this. Just a second.
Ma'am, ना बोलो यार मेरे को please. Just call me Garima at school. Just putting it out there. But go for it. Yeah.
Thank you for organizing this event for us. It's very helpful for us. And one of the thing I want to tell you that your Insta stories are very inspiring and so much entertaining those are. So I would suggest you to please continue that. Don't stop that because they are really informative and they are really entertaining for us.
Thank you. I will continue the Joker.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. मैं आपकी एक भी स्टोरी मिस नहीं करता हूँ. मैं मतलब सबसे पहले इंस्टाग्राम खोलता हूँ तो आपका ही स्टोरी आता है. So let's come on the topic. As we have just discussed that about gluten. जो इधर मैं भी क्या एस्पायरिंग ट्रेनर ही हूँ. मैं अभी लर्न कर रहा हूँ डॉग साइकोलॉजी और डॉग बिहेवियर के पे मैं अभी काम कर रहा हूँ. मतलब बुक्स पढ़ता रहता हूँ. मैं आई एम नॉट येट सर्टिफाइड बट मैं उसके बारे में पढ़ता रहता हूँ. तो काफ़ी सारे जो क्लाइंट्स हैं वो मतलब वो डॉक्टर से ज़्यादा हमको सजेस्ट करते हैं. मतलब जो हमारी सिटी है इंदौर में तो वो लोग डॉक्टर से ज़्यादा ट्रेनर्स पे भरोसा करते हैं कि आप कुछ ऐसी डाइट बताइए कि दैट विल बी बेटर फॉर आवर पेट. तो उनका जो मेन जो रहता है कि काफ़ी सारे डॉग्स में मेन ये रहता है कि वो लोग उनके डॉग ना यानी चपाती एडिक्टिव हो गए हैं. यानी मतलब उनको चपाती के अलावा कुछ पसंद ही नहीं आता. तो मैं उनको सजेस्ट नहीं करता क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं वो हेयर फॉल का यानी कुछ ना कुछ कारण है ग्लूटेन से. सो इज इट राइट? आई थिंक
So since it is very high on glycemic load, right, that can also lead to hair fall. But there may be many issues for hair fall. It can be lack of essential fatty acids like omega-6 and 3. Also, see, not all dogs will be sensitive to gluten, just like not all humans are sensitive to gluten. But it is better to try to move them to a moderate glycemic load diet. जैसे oats quinoa हो गया. But if they are community dogs, then it is not possible to feed them oats and quinoa, right? So wheat rotis and all are fine. Rice is fine. But if they are facing some kind of sensitivity issues, it is best to remove it from their diet and move to some other form of base or grain. So this is I'm talking about like community dogs and all.
And I want to add one more question. Can I go for that?
Go for
It's
it.
about that that just we have discussed about sweet potatoes. I have seen lot of time that dogs are facing very much dogs it's very difficult for dogs to digest the sweet potato. I have seen over 30 to 40 dogs or more, which may be that we have just served him a sweet potato mixed with cooked rice, and then suddenly after eating that meal, they vomit after just in 15 minutes. Within 15 minutes, they are vomit, and the whole I think I can say that the whole sweet potato they eat. The nothing got inside and the whole meal gets out in vomit. So what could be the reason for that? If अगर वो एक आध कोई dog होता तो समझ में आता, लेकिन मैंने कम से कम उसमें
Is it a quality issue? Because every dog being sensitive to sweet potatoes is not something I've heard of. And sweet potatoes is something, it's like, since it's high in both soluble and soluble fiber, it's a great form of complex carb. So I have not heard this kind of a thing with sweet potatoes. Maybe it's a quality issue.
मुझे लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं जैसे कि रीजन का भी डिफरेंस आता होगा, जैसे कहीं ना कहीं जैसे कि मध्य प्रदेश के कुछ रीजन में यानी क्लाइमेटिक भी डिफरेंस होगा, या फिर कुछ ना कुछ और, जैसे कि ऐसा भी कुछ हो सकता है.
Maybe, yeah.
And one most the crucial question I want to ask, that how veg diet, veg meals can help in increasing drives in dogs. मतलब
Increasing?
it's drives, I can say food drive in dogs. Like
Acha.
some dogs are medium drive, some dogs are medium in drive, some dogs are high drive dogs. So मैं काफी जो पेट पेरेंट्स मुझसे यही सवाल पूछते रहते हैं, and I have no answer for that.
You mean like the palatability of the food, right?
Yes, exactly, you got it.
See, dogs like more protein and they like more fats. So they usually don't like the protein, the vegetarian protein sources. So you will need to focus on the fat part. So either add some form of oil. For saturated fat, you can go for ghee. For omega-6 and 3, you can go for a supplement, omega-6 and 3 supplement. Or you can add paneer. So these are the two things. Then if eggs are possible, then that is great. You can add eggs as a topper. So the fat part will make it more palatable for the dog.
So the fact is 90% of clients who reaches me, they are purely vegetarian. So they just want that we need a fully vegetarian diet. We don't want to feed him
Then
even
paneer is
eggs. They are
good, no?
not ready.
Paneer is a palatable ingredient for them.
So paneer and eggs, they are both are of equal value. There is no difference in paneer and egg. We can say that.
Sorry.
Is there in no? I was just asking. So if we feed
You mean
paneer instead of eggs,
affordability wise?
I was asking in comparison of protein.
In
Nutrition.
comparison,
Okay.
nutrition wise, they are not the same. Eggs are a complete protein. They have amino acids and B vitamins and everything. Paneer does not. Paneer is high in fats and protein, but not other nutrients. So they
So it's
cannot be
better to,
directly replaced. Eggs are definitely the superior ones, but in case of palatability, paneer also works.
yeah, so we have to put eggs over paneer in this in nutrition wise, we can say.
Yes.
Uh, okay, my doubts are over. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Cool. Next we have Govind has his hand up. Govind, why don't you go next?
Hey, hi. Hi, how are you?
Hello. Good.
All right. So, my question is very, like, I don't know whether it's simple or it's a very tactical kind of a question, but it's actually because I'm also a first-time parent, and apart from all the major concern which has been raised that dogs are fussy, they are not able to eat and all that. Adding on to that, my dog is basically, whenever he eats, right, many times he vomits. Okay, majorly. And plus, he, like, generally my doctor has suggested that putting some like multivitamins and everything in his dog food or any other stuff which we are giving him. But whenever we put some medicine, he's not gonna eat that food as well. Initially he used to, but not now. So is there any way out for that?
So every time he's vomiting, and is he vomiting undigested food?
Not every time, like not the undigested food, not every time, but majorly, yes.
And what is he vomiting out?
So what happened is, basically he's not able to chew properly, and in that case, what happened if we are giving him dog food, right? So after like 15-20 minutes, say, he'll vomit the entire dog food in the same solid format.
Okay. So is it mostly with the dog food?
Mostly with every kind of food.
Okay. So any form of like vomiting kind of an issue, it can be anything related to the mouth, the esophagus, or the stomach, right? Because the food has not yet entered the intestine because it's coming out undigested. So there can be an inflammation in the esophagus. There can be maybe there is some low stomach acid problem. Maybe there is some form of a tooth decay that you don't know of. So first of all, get the teeth checked properly by a veterinarian who is an expert in this. For any form of infection or something, even a little bit of infection can lead to this. Dog food usually leads to a lot of acidity, right? So maybe avoid dog food entirely and feed a home cooked diet, and try to feed something which is more soothing. And if he has a low stomach acid problem, then maybe you can try. If you're completely doing a home cooked diet, then you can add a little bit of salt also. So if he has a low stomach acid problem, that will be resolved with adding a pinch of salt.
So we'll be able to know about like for the acid thing what you just mentioned. We need to do some test anyhow that we able to know about it, right?
See, if it's an inflammation in the esophagus and all, maybe your vet will suggest some form of maybe steroids or something. I don't know. That your vet will be able to guide you. If there is some infection in the teeth, then he will ask for a dental cleaning. If your dog is young, then you can go for a dental cleaning. No problem with that. Or it can be something major. It's better to get a blood test done to check for is there any kind of infection. It will be visible in the CBC itself. So that's the first thing you should do, because sometimes it is so like vague. It can be a liver, heart, or kidney issue, and you don't know, and you all the time you're thinking about the gut issue, right? So first, like rule that out. Get a CBC, LFT, and KFT done, which is a liver functioning and kidney functioning test. And after that, then maybe you can get other parts checked, like esophagus and mouth.
But I cross-checked with my vet once, so he mentioned it categorically that maybe he's not, chewing it properly. That is the reason it is not getting digested, and he's throwing it out. So he suggested to give it in a slow eater. Right.
It can also be some form of bacterial infection or something in the gut. But dogs usually don't chew properly. They are gulpers. So most of the dogs will just gulp down food. And if they have a weak gut or something, then it can be an issue. But then, does he just completely eats everything without chewing whatsoever?
He eats whenever he eats, he never chew. For that matter, वो अपनी treats को भी chew नहीं करता.
So maybe there's a teeth issue then. If he's avoiding chewing altogether, then maybe there is something that's painful to him in the mouth.
Because he's 7 months only, so I believe initially we thought that maybe he's teething, then after a point of time he will, but then it's been 7 months.
Sorry to interrupt, but I went through the same problem with my Shih Tzu. He did not chew his food properly, and a lot of times he'd puke out everything that he had. And so we started with a slow feeder, and that has improved the situation like remarkably. So try slow feeder. And as for the treats, if you give, I mean, in our household, it works that we give him smaller pieces. But if it's the opposite for you, that if you feel like he chews bigger pieces, then go for bigger pieces or smaller ones. But for food, slow feeder has worked very well for us.
No, but the point is he has stopped eating in slow feeder as well.
So maybe feed like a soft food to him, like boiled pumpkin or something. Boiled pumpkin, overcooked rice, curd, paneer, that will help, maybe.
All right. But anyhow, but I'll try, because I can just check with this regarding the teeth issue, because as I rightly mentioned that every of the other food which we are trying to give him, he's not able to, he's not eating it, like not able to, but it's a wrong thing, but he's not eating it. Okay. And
so one of my clients' dog had this issue, right? And they got the tooth checked, and there was like, there was some issue with the teeth. There was
Sorry,
I think he had eaten a brain, and
there was an internet lag, so maybe.
Yeah.
Arpita, we'll you for a bit. Can you just repeat? You were telling that issue with the client's tooth, client's dog's tooth.
Yeah, so there was a slight fracture because he had eaten some hard bone or something, a dehydrated hard bone, and there was a fracture issue, and that's why he was avoiding breaking down the food. He was just gulping everything. So when they got it checked, they realized that it was
For now, you are suggesting that I should go for the tooth checkup, and if there is any issue with the tooth, plus is there any blood
CBC and
test?
also. Yeah.
Other than that, I'm sorry, once again, I have one more suggestion that we also tried. I mean, if to check if he's just being fussy about eating the slow feeder or chewing in general, try putting putting one spoon down, see if he eats it, then try another. So just to check whether he is just in a hurry to eat or he doesn't want to chew, what we used to do is we used to sit with him, put the food one spoon at a time in another cup or something, then we'd see if he eats or not. And once we realize that he's just gulping food, then we realize that it's time to shift to the slow feeder. The first thing we tried was to just put one spoon at a time and see what he does. So that could be one thing you can test first before getting anything else.
I know, but I've also already done it in past, because what happened is when he's not able to eat in his own bowl, then I used to put one spoon on the floor. He eats it, like he gulps it basically. Okay, and then I tried putting in a slow feeder. Then also he's kind of a moody. He won't be eating it then.
Then, as ma'am suggested, go to the vet and get it checked once to be sure.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, great. Cool. I think Rujita had a couple of questions as well. I'll just quickly, Rujita, if you're here, maybe you want to just talk about them. You had one on which vegetables and one about your dog being a slightly fussy eater, right?
Yeah, so I have a plan that 1 second. I got like a plan made from you guys itself, but I was just wondering in terms of like what other vegetables we can include, because so my dog is a 6-year-old Indie, and he was entirely on kibble for a while, because also he was allergic to wheat and he can't process a lot of dairy. But he really loves like dairy stuff, kuch bhi, matlab doodh, paneer, ghee, everything. But so he's on one home cooked meal for now. But he also gets bored of ingredients really quickly. Like, some days he'll eat it, some days he won't. There's really no way to tell. And if you put in a topper, so if I'm putting some paneer on top of his food, he'll probably just like eat out the paneer bits, or only eat as much as he needs to get at the paneer. So I think we were supposed to give him egg yolks and like only whites. He doesn't like whites. He really only likes the yolk. So I mean, he's fussy in that sense also, in the sense he can really like eat out the parts that he wants and not eat the rest. Like he's done that with grated carrot once. He ate around grated carrot. Like he just left the grated bits in the bowl. I don't know how he does it. But yeah.
So he ate the vegetable.
Yes, he ate everything else except for like carrots.
Grated carrot. So
yeah,
that's why I always mention that you should cook the vegetables properly and make a paste and then add, because dogs are very smart like that. They will just pick out the things that they don't want to eat and eat just the palatable part.
So what else can we, because he also gets bored of like say drinking his food every day, right? Or eating, or I don't know how to like go. How do we, is there like a way to predict it? Is there something else to do? It's not that he's not hungry, right? Because he'll eat the toppers or he'll eat the treat or whatever. It's just that he doesn't want that.
Are you on a vegetarian diet?
So he has eggs and like then vegetables, and then like some meat through toppers and stuff.
Okay. By toppers, like oats and all is also there, right?
Yeah. I mean, he has rice and oats and quinoa on rotation, and some, I think, masoor and moong that you had suggested.
Yeah. So dogs are actually, they find the fats more palatable and the protein part. Now, since it's a vegetarian diet, protein is always limited. Veg protein is not something the dogs really are interested in. So in that case, we need to focus more on the fat part. So if he's picking out paneer and all, then I always recommend just, blend everything to the mixer so that they are not able to pick it out. You can add oils that dogs usually like are ghee. So they like ghee, so that is something that you can add. But then again, I'll have to check your macronutrient split, and then I'll be able to suggest how much ghee to add. Then there are other oils. They also like coconut oil, but I usually don't recommend too much of coconut oil because paneer usually covers the saturated fats which are needed. But that is also something that is palatable. Then, like I just mentioned about the eggs, maybe try to change the texture of the eggs from completely boiled or scrambled to soft boiled, where the yolk is runny. So because that runny yolk you can mix through the entire meal, right? You'll be able to mix it with the rice or oats or whatever. So that's how. So dogs usually, they are more attracted with the smell and not the taste. You can also try adding a pinch of salt because you're on a home cooked diet. So these are off the top of my head.
Is salt okay for like him? Is that something?
Yeah, if you are on a complete home cooked diet, that means the sodium is already on the lower side. So you can add salt.
Okay.
What I personally found is the egg wala trick works pretty well. So, I mean, we sometimes add chicken, but sometimes, for example, when we run out of chicken, it's a great way to fool my dog. We add some egg, little bit of paneer, vegetables, rice, all of that, and you cook it. And I don't know what happens, but somehow it feels the same as chicken. I don't know what it is, but she eats it up. When there's egg. If there's no egg in it, sometimes then she's, nahi hoga.
Especially the runny yolk, whether the yolk is like quite literally just liquid. That's what they like a lot. The smell they like.
Yeah, so he'll eat out like the yolk bits and he'll leave the whites.
But there'll be no bits, right? When it is
Right.
runny, you can mix it entirely with the
all
food.
of it. Yeah, right.
You will not be able to pick it apart. So this is what I have tried with my dog, and it has worked. Like she's also a youth, like she's a fussy eater, and I took like 2 years to figure out what she really likes and how she likes it. But now I know exactly how. But now also, if I divert a little bit from how she likes it, then she will not eat. So it's that crazy. So it will take time for you to figure out what really your dog likes and how he likes it, but you need to experiment with the texture constantly.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Cool.
What the gravy food?
Sorry.
Gravy food available in market.
Gravy food, you know
Sorry,
what I
gravy.
found with gravy food is that dogs who are on like constantly on gravy food, they have had liver or some form of issues with kidneys or something, mostly liver. So that's why I always try to ask people to avoid the gravy food and go for the dry food instead.
Awesome. There was a question that had come in from one sec. Supreet. Supreet is here. If yes, then why don't you unmute yourself and ask as well? I can read it out till then. My 14-year-old German Spitz was diagnosed with pancreatitis in 2020. Since then, the doctor suggested to go only for chicken and rice. We used to give him treats, but we stopped them. Recently, we started giving him roti and chicken since he stopped eating chicken rice. He loves roti. And we also started giving him chicken biscuits as well. He is also on bone and joint and kidney supplements. Can you suggest some alternatives that we can incorporate in his diet?
Yeah,
How
hi,
old is the
Supreet
dog?
this side.
Awesome.
He's
for it.
14 years old and he's very fussy. He's very aggressive. And whenever I try to give him something else which he doesn't like, he always, just goes away.
Okay.
He's very fussy. And whenever I go and touch him, he's not at all happy with the way we treat him. I don't know why.
How severe is the pancreatitis?
It was diagnosed in 2020, but now he's completely fine. No symptoms of, pain or anything else is not there. But the only problem we are facing these days is the behavioral issue that we are facing currently. Only the behavioral issues are there. Apart from that, I feel I need to do some changes when it comes to his diet. So he loves roti, but the doctor said that we have to stop giving him roti and go for only chicken rice since he had some issues.
His kidneys has been fine?
Yeah.
Kidney values?
Yeah, everything is fine, but the doctor has suggested supplements to prevent that.
Kidneys. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's old, and plus with pancreatitis, there can be a comorbidity, like usually kidney issues are there. And it
Mm-hmm.
becomes very difficult to manage the kidney issues because the kidney diet needs high fat, and with pancreatitis, we cannot feed high fat. So
Exactly. Bang on.
that is an issue. But you will need to continue with a low fat diet.
Mm-hmm.
Rice and oats are the best ingredients in case of pancreatitis, and maybe there will be an onset of kidney issues in the future. So for both of those, to prevent that, it is
Mm-hmm.
better to stick with oats and white rice, not
He
any
has
other.
stopped eating chicken rice, so I have added roti. So is it okay if I serve a little roti?
That is fine. That is
That
fine.
is
You
fine,
can,
no?
with the wheat roti, you can add. I'm sure he does not have any allergic issues to wheat or something, so it's
No, no,
okay.
nothing. He has been eating roti since he was 5, 6 months, maybe. So
Okay.
since, yeah, since a
Egg
long.
whites are also fine. Any form of lean meat is fine.
Okay, so we
Uh,
can serve mutton also to him?
Goat meat,
Goat
but
meat.
in moderation. Like uh, keep the chicken higher in the diet, and maybe goat meat limited to 100 grams, not more than that, but not every day, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But just like for a change of texture or something, goat meat
Mm-hmm.
is fine, not the lamb meat.
Okay.
Then buffalo meat is also something which is lean. But then if you cannot get the lean part, like the tenderloin or something, then just avoid it. Stick to this. Is he
Mm-hmm.
okay with chicken?
Yeah, yeah, he loves chicken.
Yeah, then great. Then maybe you can move to oats instead of rice.
Yeah, I haven't started oats in his diet. I'm going to try that. So how do I serve oats?
Just boil it in plain water
Okay, done.
and mix the egg white or something. Egg white can also be soft boiled.
So yolk needs to be avoided, right? Yolk, egg yolk.
It does not have that much fats. Like if you're not adding any other form of fat, then it is okay for pancreatitis because they do not ask you to remove the fats entirely. You need to
Mm-hmm.
restrict them to a particular percentage on a dry matter basis, but you don't need to remove it completely. So I don't know what fats you're adding. Maybe we can have a chat later. So depending on,
Sure.
it depends on that. Yeah.
Yeah, this answers all my questions. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Aishwarya, I know you've been waiting for a while. Why don't you go next?
Thank you. I just had a couple of questions. When you said that for fussy eaters, it's best to have 2 meals a day, while my dog suffers from acidity, he usually vomits out foamy stuff if he's not fed for long. So even in his case, would it be advisable? Because I realized yesterday we kind of started changing his food because the dog suggested that we need to change the kind of kibble that he's eating. So yesterday he was so hungry that he gobbled up everything, every home cooked meal that we gave him. But again today, since he's not hungry, he's stopped. Like he's not even touched the food. So in that, like the morning meal has already been missed. Now, do we give the afternoon meal, or should we just wait straight through the dinner, or should we just offer something in the middle? Because I expect him to puke if he does not get food. I feel like that's bound to happen.
Yeah, if it's a chronic kind of an issue, the acidity part, then you cannot do like a 2 meal a day diet. You need to feed something in between. But in that case, I would recommend give 2 big meals, in the one for lunch, one for dinner. And in between, you can give really small portions, but try to avoid the treats because treats also tend to be like acidic, especially if you're going for the processed ones in the market, the jerky ones,
I'm
sugar
sorry.
high, and I don't know what all people feed. Fruits or vegetables like cooked pumpkin, cooked sweet potatoes, all these things, these are soothing, right, for the body. Curd is also fine. Paneer is also fine. So these are the things, home cooked ones, you should stick to for snack in between, but not like a really huge snack. Otherwise, then I'm sure he will avoid the dinner or lunch.
And how do you make veggies interesting? The only veggie that he eats is pumpkin. Other than that, he does not touch anything. Even if I force feed it, he'll just spit it out. He doesn't eat anything.
It is okay to feed pumpkin more. Maybe what you can do is, in the pumpkin puree, you can sneak in any other vegetable in a small portion, maybe just 20 gram or something. So maybe he will not know, right?
Okay, right. Okay. Okay, I just had one more question and I've just completely blanked out. I'll put it in the chat if I can, if it comes back to me. Thank you so much. I think there's some internet problem on ma'am's end.
Yeah, I think, Arpita's back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Great. So put in whatever question you had in the chat. We can take it up.
Yes.
Awesome. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, we already did Vandana's question. Sujita also we did. Ashwarya we just did. Sweetie had a question. And I think it's also kind of linked to, there's another question after that. My 4-month-old Indie baby is not eating without non-veg. So is feeding daily non-veg to a 4-month-old dog safe? And then I think kind of related, is rule focus puppy food good? If you've seen the ingredients. So maybe we can just do a broader this thing on food for puppies. What is good, what is not good.
So first of all, puppies need a balanced diet every single day. And by balanced, I mean the micronutrients and macronutrients both should be completely balanced, that there should be no lack or deficiency whatsoever in any nutrient, right? The vitamins, minerals, the protein, fats, and carbs should also be balanced properly. And they are to be balanced according to the activity level of your dog, right? If he is highly active, then you need more fats. You need moderate amount of proteins and maybe moderate amount of carbs in his diet. If your dog is like on the lower side of activity level, most puppies are not on the lower side, they're on the moderate side. So yeah, you will need at least 30 to 40% as protein. And in protein, I'm very particular about animal meat protein. Try to add animal meat protein because they are a complete protein source. They have all the essential amino acids which are needed for a puppy, right? Or you can go for a brand that uses a lot of animal meat protein. For example, NND or Origin. These two are really good. They have higher protein levels also in their dog food. And along with that, then you can balance out with some form of home cooked meal. Now, non-veg you can feed every day to your dog. Because that's what a puppy or even an adult or senior dog will need, but then not too much. You don't feed too much of protein. Like if your dog's food has more than 60% on a caloric basis protein, obviously there's going to be some or the other form of liver or kidney issue in the future. So that also needs to be balanced according to the activity level and the age of your dog and everything. So for puppies, I would say 40% of protein is okay in the diet. So if I just say it 40% on a caloric basis, you will not be able to calculate, obviously. So that's why take a diet plan. But yeah, so for dog food, rules focus is not something I would recommend. Rules pedigree, I never recommend. I always ask my clients to upgrade to either NND, Origin. These are better in terms of the formulation. They're also corn free. So I would always recommend not to go for any form of dog food which has corn in it, because they are more prone to mold and mycotoxins and alpha toxins, which can then in the future lead to liver issues in your dog. So you obviously want to avoid that.
There's a question around Purina. What about some of the other brands? Farmina, Purina, all of these brands also, I think.
Farmina NND, no? Farmina NND is good. It's I would say the best, one of the best.
Okay, and Purina? Purina is similar or?
Purina, I'll have to check the macronutrient levels and the formulation and whether one or two of the Purina are actually approved by WSAVA because they do feeding trials for their dogs, right?
Oh.
So WSAVA is this organization in US. They will give an approval to a dog food based on all the list of rules that they have written. And if the dog food follows through all those rules, then yes, they are approved by that. So few variants of NND Farmina approved, few variants of Purina Pro Plan also approved. Yeah, so.
Got it. And gravies, when you were talking about gravies, you mentioned that what exactly tends to be the cause there? There's also a question Richa has around the gravy velvet in with High gravy seems to be pretty popular as well. Is that okay? What is the overall verdict on like wet food?
I don't know what the issue is, frankly, because what I've seen is every time some really absurd, abnormal blood test reports I have seen on dogs is when the dog parents have been feeding the gravy every single day. So they have been like high crazy levels of liver and kidney issues in dogs, which is not even normal in the normal home cooked diet or even dog food diet. So it's always been related to the gravy part. So I don't know, maybe there's something in the formulation itself.
Got it. Is it, I mean, I don't know, I'm just assuming based on usually because when they're packaged, it tends to be like high on preservative and maybe like salts and whatever. Could it be linked to that or what is it?
Maybe.
No idea. Acha. करनी चाहिए किसी को research, क्या पता someday. I think maybe we'll only end up doing it. But awesome.
Dog food brands will come after you then.
I don't want to get into that fight. I'd rather have you busting these myths.
You put it out there.
Awesome. Parna had a question. Is Parna here? If yes, you can unmute yourself and ask.
I
Okay,
guess being the first time pet parent leads to a lot of questions.
Go for it. Go.
So whenever he used to puke, because he does quite frequently, first he'll not eat, and if he doesn't eat, it's acidic again. So doctor advised me to give him ice cream, vanilla ice cream, for the whole day until unless he became normal, and then give him food. So is it okay to give him ice cream?
No, instead give curd. Or there are some probiotic curds available. They have some like blueberries or some berries added to them to make it, palatable. So I think what's the brand? I forgot the brand's name. So these are unsweetened.
I
And
lost you in between.
Epigmia.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Epigamia is the name of the brand. Yeah. So Epigamia has a lot of unsweetened, unflavored, preservative-free probiotic yogurts available. So those are the ones you can try, but not the grape or raisin ones. Okay, just the berry ones are fine. So those you can feed now.
Got it. Cool. There is, I think Parna is not here, so maybe we can just skip her question. Are you here? Hello. Is Parna here? No, right? No, cool. Okay, so we'll just go on to the next one.
Yeah, I think it's my network that got stuck.
Oh, no stress. Go for it. Go for it. You had any other question? No.
Yeah, so one last question. I'm sorry I'm bombarding you with questions. He doesn't drink water. So he doesn't drink water, and throughout the day, the water will keep lying. At night, sometimes what I do is I put a little drop of water in a bottle's cap and try to give him that. That's when he takes water, and that time he'll take a lot of water, but otherwise he doesn't drink water.
Yeah, so not drinking water is also a common issue among dogs. So usually what I recommend is feeding a lot of broth. But then since you are on a vegetarian diet, you cannot feed chicken broth. There are some chicken broths which are made for dogs available in the market. Those you can get. But if you don't want to get those, then maybe a vegetable broth or curd diluted in water, paneer diluted in water. These are the kind of things that you can feed. Or the last option, last resort you can go for is just take a syringe and fill it with water and pour it in the mouth. Because you need to have a particular level of water that you need to feed your dog. Let's say 500 ml per day is what your dog needs. So you need to fulfill that, because otherwise your dog can develop some form of kidney issues or maybe stones or something in future. So that minimum level of water intake is something we need to maintain every day.
Basically, he's fussy about everything: food, water, medicines. I can't feed him anything. He stopped eating. I added medicines. So I am not able to give him supplements, not able to give him food properly, no water. So it really worries me that I don't want him to fall sick.
Have you done a blood test? I'm sorry, but I usually ask people to get a blood test done first for everything, because from my experience, what I have seen is every time there is some or the other issue, something crops up in the blood report itself, right? There is some infection or something.
Consulted the doc multiple times, and he's never asked us to do any blood test.
Vet will not ask you. You will need to force him to get a blood test done. The vets will usually say there is no need, but then when a blood test is done, then you will see, oh, there is this and this and this an issue. There is something infection, the platelets are low, or the liver values are high. There is always some or the other issue. So it's always
Which all blood tests do you recommend that I should get done?
So I usually recommend CBC, which is complete blood count. Second, LFT, which is liver functioning test. Third is KFT, kidney functioning test. So these three are enough. They will tell you what is, if there is anything wrong. And if nothing, then it's just a fussy eating problem.
When should we get them blood test? मतलब कैसे पता चलेगा like dog is not well? What are the symptoms we will see? Like I don't think, I think मेरा dog में से कुछ नहीं होता. His urine is yellow. Otherwise, he's okay. So should I get test done or not?
Annual test तो करना ही है. That I recommend to everybody. If you can get 2 times a year, the vets will usually be like, why are you getting a blood test done? Okay, if you go for 2 times, they'll be like, आ गए फिर से, right? So, but at least once a year you should get it done, like the entire thing. I recommend glucose, thyroid, calcium, phosphorus to check for electrolytes. सब करवा लो एक बार year में, so that you will know if your dog is doing well. Because you know, many a times there are no external symptoms whatsoever. I have seen like dogs literally they have died, and the dog parents have not even found out what the issue is. Right? There was one person who reached out to me. The dog's kidney values were so high, and there were no external symptoms whatsoever other than fussiness. Fussiness was the only issue. The kidney levels were like 300-400 times higher, which is like so abnormal, right? And then it was too late to even cure the dog because he didn't make it. So it's always better annually to get it done.
Ma'am, would it be okay if I send my dog's recent blood tests that led to the conclusion that he has a higher hemoglobin because of his food? I mean, I would really like your input on those.
Yeah, please, you can share. You can take my number from Garima and share it. Or on
Thank you.
Awesome.
While I
Cool.
have you, sorry, please
the
go
third
ahead.
question.
Lenny, go on. What were we saying?
The question that I had forgotten, it was how many eggs a day can I give to my 1-year-old Shih Tzu?
Shih Tzu, oh, one, just one, not more than that.
Right? Okay.
And to golden?
Golden also depends on what kind of diet. If it's a vegetarian, then not more than 2. 2 are also a lot, but then kahan se milega protein or fat? So not more than 2.
And is there some way to make some vegetarian stock or gravy that makes their food as interesting as the pedigree gravy that they eat? So
Vegetable?
No way to do that, right?
If you add something on as a topper on the vegetable broth, like I said, fats are palatable, so you can add maybe ghee or coconut oil or any other form of fat, fish oil or something. If that's what your dog will like, then that can make it the broth palatable, and a pinch of salt.
Thank you.
But generally, our trainer tells us that ghee, oil are not recommended, baal jhadenge and all.
No, fatty acids are needed. So the essential fatty acids are omega-6 and 3, right? Omega-3 comes from fish oil or fishes. If you cannot feed fish, then go for fish oil. Other forms of omega-3 oils are not available in India, so I will not even mention them here. Omega-6 you can get from chicken skin, or if you cannot feed that, then there's wheat germ oil, which you can feed for omega-6. Wheat germ oil, I can share the brand later on after this.
Frozen food is okay, na? Like frozen fish, we can keep like put it in rice and boil it.
Frozen fish, fresh fish?
From Mexican we can get it, because some fresh fish we can't bring it home. That frozen basa fish is
dehydrated. Okay, basa fish is not really good. If there is some form of a prescription diet that I have formulated which needs white fish, then you can go for basa fish, but otherwise don't feed basa fish. Just go for the fish oil instead.
Cool. There's one question. There's no name, but it's a number 76673. I see you're online. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hello.
Hi.
So actually, I have a golden retriever who is 1.5 years old, and as of now, we are feeding him home diet because he also has that problem that he keeps on swallowing his food, and he's a fast eater. So initially, we were like giving him mixed food, as in farmina we were giving, and along with that some home cooked food. But then he's again started vomiting very regularly. So now I've switched his diet from that to only the home cooked food that I'm giving, which consists of basically a mix of vegetable puree, fish oil, 1 egg, 1 chapati, and sometimes dal, and sometimes chicken, and what else? And sometimes oats, quinoa. So all of these things, and sometimes curd as well. So I wanted to understand if this is fine if we are giving him this diet twice a day, or we need to incorporate that dog food as well in his diet.
If it's a vegetarian diet, then I usually recommend one
No,
meal of
non-veg is
kibble.
fine.
Huh?
Non-veg is also fine.
Yeah, if you're adding non-veg, then okay. But what I usually recommend in non-veg is go for at least one poultry, one ruminant meat. That is one chicken, like chicken, as form of poultry, and ruminant meat you can add a little bit of mutton, because it's really difficult to balance out the complete. I mean, the diet with just chicken, right? If there are some deficiencies, instead of adding anything else, you can add some supplements, but the whole food is anytime better. So and he has been having issues because of the NND dog food, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so best not to add that then. Yeah, try to balance it out with the home cooked food itself.
Okay, so this kind of diet is fine. We're adding a little bit of everything.
Yeah, yes, but there are some nutrients which are lacking, right? There's selenium
That,
lacking. There is, off the top of my head, vitamin D3 is lacking. So these you'll have to give in the form of supplements.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Andrita has a question. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You can unmute yourself and ask. Yeah.
Hi, yes, that's how it's pronounced, Amrita.
Okay. Awesome.
I just have a quick question. My dog is not fussy at all. She's a darling when it comes to food because she eats everything available and more. But she's suddenly stopped drinking plain water from a water bowl, like since the past month and a half. It was just when it got really cold in Delhi. Before that, she used to drink enough water. So I have started adding water in her food 2 times in the day, and I give her chicken broth also. But I just want to understand why she suddenly stopped drinking water, because she used to drink it and she has it when it's in the food, when it has some flavor. Is it because she's tasted broth and she likes it better, or should I get her tested for something to do with the kidneys? Because my cat had also done this, not my cat, like a friend's cat had also done this, and she did end up having kidney issues. So I just
Yeah,
want to be sure, like, should I get her tested for kidney or something? Because
you can get
otherwise
a base.
she's good. Like, she's very active. She eats everything. She's like, she sleeps well, all of that. It's just this water thing suddenly.
Okay, so what I have observed with change in water intake is when the dog either has a kidney issue, kidney stone issue, or there is some form of endocrine issue like related to hormones and all. So I'm not sure if your dog is paid. Is a female or
She's a
male?
female and she's 10 months. I think
Female.
just last month she got into her first heat.
First heat. Okay, so it can be a hormonal issue, right? Or it can be an endocrine issue. But since she's so young, I don't think. I mean, the chances are less, but it can still happen. Some form of hormonal issue. But yeah, the first step you should get is a KFT done. But if it is normal, then maybe is there any form of like skin issue, shedding, or alopecia?
No, she has normal hair shedding like all dogs. Like, it's nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay, okay. So the hormonal issue is also something. I don't think it's a hormonal issue. Maybe a KFT would let you know.
Okay, but she has water if it's mixed in her food. So intake of water in the day is completed. It's just that plain water she's just stopped having.
It is okay if she does not have plain water as long as she's having her recommended intake of water level in form of broth. So that is fine. By broth, you mean the stock, right?
Yeah, the chicken stock. So that I can give her every day. It's fine, right?
Yeah. But make sure that the chicken does not have fat. So when you will cook, there will be a lot of like fat layer on top of the broth.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That I will remove. Okay, cool. So I'll just get a KFT done because I'm just a little worried. So I think, okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Great. Nikhil has a question.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
So,
hi.
I also am a first-time dog owner, and it's a 3-month lab. We've been weaning him off from Royal Canin and from Royal Canin to NND. So we're almost at 50-50 now, but we have days where he completely rejects dog food throughout the day. He'll skip 2 meals, sometimes he'll skip 3 meals, maybe he'll eat some curd rice. We've had days where he eats every 3 hours, sometimes every 2 hours. We have days where he eats every 4 hours, like proper big meals every 4 hours, sleeps for a good 7-8 hours. And just we've not been, having any sort of breakthrough with regards to, how much to feed, because he's completely unsettled with regards to his food and his sleep cycle. So he doesn't sleep and I don't sleep. I don't know about him, but I've lost a lot of weight. Yeah.
So are you only feeding the dog food? Is there any form of home cooked food that you're adding to his diet?
So we've kind of, so my wife is vegan and she is hell-bent on wanting to turn him vegetarian. I'm on the opposite side. But we're trying to find midway. So what vegetarian things we can add to his diet and have a proper functional scheduled diet for him.
So a lot of dog parents who come to us for diet plans, most of them are because the dog has stopped eating the dog food. So it's a very common issue. Maybe because the dog food is also, it's quite acidic. So if you're forcing too much of dog food, they will turn fussy after a while, and that fussiness does not go away that easily, right? So it's always better to do at least one form of home cooked food and 1 meal of home cooked food, 1 meal of kibble, or you can reduce kibble even more. But in your case, since you're doing a vegetarian diet, then one meal you will have to feed like we just talked about with eggs, paneer, oats, quinoa, all these in rotation along with vegetables and all. So I'm not sure if is he fussy towards the home cooked meal as well, or is it just the dog food?
The only home cooked meal we give him is curd rice. Sometimes some like chiku or apple.
Okay.
That he's completely on dog food.
So curd rice is not very nutritious, right? So maybe add different kinds of vegetables. You can start with pumpkin and sweet potatoes because those are something that dogs like more. That, and if in the vegetarian, if you can add eggs, that will be great. If not, then paneer is another form of palatable ingredient that you can add. Then rotate between oats. Quinoa is a complete protein. That's why I always ask people to add quinoa, but that's also something that's not really very palatable for dogs. So oats is something that you can try with, start with.
He's around 6.5 kilos now, 3 months, almost 3 months. And so how often should I be feeding him? Like, should I force a feeding schedule?
Yes, he should be on a strict schedule. Like if you're feeding him at 7, 1, 4, and 8, that's how he should eat every day on the same fixed time. So it's a very important to have proper discipline so that there are no issues like vomiting, acidity, or something. So if he's 3 months, then four meals, yes. 4 meals for maybe till he is 4 months old, and after that you can move to 3 meals.
Okay, so how long would it take for him for us to wean him off Royal Canin and bring him completely to NND?
Do it slowly over a period of 1 month, because whenever like dog parents try to wean quickly, there is some form of issue. Like there'll be diarrhea or something, especially with NND being higher on the protein side. Do it as slowly as possible.
All right.
It's okay if it takes 1 or 2 months also, but then in between you'll have to switch him to 3 meals and then try to include the home cooked meals, but then go slow with that as well. Now, since you'll be weaning off from the rice curd to, let's say, oats or paneer, do that very slowly because puppies are anyway very sensitive. I mean, the gut is very sensitive.
Okay. And one last thing, what treats do you recommend and how much to give?
I recommend dehydrated treats.
Okay.
I can share the links of those so you can get it. Right? I don't recommend those packet ones, Johai or Chip Chop, something like that. I don't recommend those because they have preservatives and everything, and they are processed. So since you're already on a processed food, it is best to go for the natural preservative-free treats. I will share the links with Garima, so if you can share it with you.
All right.
So yeah, all the supplements, treats, everything, I'll share links with everybody on the calendar invite so that you guys have that. Great. Vishwas has his hand up as well.
Thank you, Garima. हाथ दुख गया था मैं नीचे ले लिया अभी. All right. So I have a dog who's about 5.5 months old, and I'm also a first-time parent. So I had no idea about it, how to manage dog or everything like that. So the problem, he eats everything. There is no problem with eating. However, he wants to eat at all the time. That's the issue, right? And I'm not able to understand how to manage his hunger, and there's no problem with the any sort of nutrition. I mean, I feed him chicken, or usually the diet that I keep around in the morning, around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning, I'll give him NND around 60 grams, and then at 2 o'clock I'll give him curd rice, because whenever I feed him chicken rice, he'll have a loose motion or something like that for the next day. And sometimes I mix carrot and pumpkin as well in the food. So that's what it is. But I give him enough food, the full. So I'm not able to understand what should be the nutrition for Indian puppy who's about 6 months old. What should be the quantity about it? So that's my question. Thank you.
Is your dog fairly active?
He is, yeah, he is normal. I mean, we play with him very often, and I take him for a walk very often as well.
Okay. So right now, what I can say is your dog's diet is quite high in carbs. If he's a fairly active dog, and since he's a puppy, it should be a little bit more on the fat side. Like the fat should be the highest macronutrient, but that doesn't mean you just keep adding oils and everything. But you can do different things like are you adding eggs and paneer and everything to his diet?
तो मैंने अंडा उसके डाइट में 1-2 बार डाला था, उससे पसंद नहीं है. वो अंडा का स्मेल ही नहीं करता, ही गोज अवे. और मैं सैल्मन ऑयल डालता हूँ, एक चमचा सैल्मन ऑयल आई एम पुटिंग. चिकन, he likes eating chicken. The only issue is whenever he eats chicken, the very next day he's going to have loose motion, and that's the issue.
Okay, how much chicken do you add?
I add around, how would I say, about 30 grams, 2 to 3 spoon of chicken keema. Raj, you may want to keep yourself on mute.
Okay. Yeah. So I think there seems to be some issue with the chicken. Maybe he's allergic or something to chicken, right? So maybe you can increase his the kibble so that he gets more fats in his diet. And with carbs, you can do different form of vegetables. I don't know how much vegetables you're adding, but that will make him feel full. If you're only adding rice and all, that is something that he'll be able to digest very quickly since he's a puppy. Right, so add more form of like complex carbs like oats and all, that will make him feel more full. I don't know the portion sizes that you're adding, right? So I cannot really guide you directly here. If you can like later on email me or something, then I'll be able to guide you on the portion sizes that you need to feed. But of course, if your dog is prone to obesity and all, then you need to have him on a fixed diet with a little bit higher on the fat side.
Chalega. I have another question, if I may ask, Garima.
Go for it.
Thank you. So whenever I take him for a walk, he likes to eat mud or something like that. And few days ago, he actually ate few stones and he vomited out, right? So I try to say him no, not to eat it. But I'm not able to understand it. Is it because of the lack of any sort of nutrition that he's getting, or what it is? He has reduced it
because
now.
of it is usually because of lack of insoluble fiber first. Second, it can be because of lack of minerals in his diet. So mostly what dog parents do is they feed a lot of soluble fiber in form of pumpkin, carrots, bottle gourd, all these kind of vegetables. But then they fail to add insoluble fiber. That is also one of the reasons why dogs eat grass and all outside.
Sure.
So maybe add more insoluble fiber in form of wheat grass. So wheat grass, you can just grow it at your home. That is one form. Another is like grated apple seeds. Seeds you can add like flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, but you need to roast and grind them and feed them in powdered form so that they are able to digest it properly. So that is one of the reasons. Another is a lack of mineral issue in the diet. There's some form of deficiency. If you're feeding a lot of carb-rich diet, then of course there will be some deficiency in the diet. So
और
maybe a mineral supplement will help, or getting it properly balanced will help.
वो आपने बताया था कि बोन पाउडर डाल सकते हैं, तो उसका क्वांटिटी कितना रहना चाहिए बोन पाउडर का?
Bone powder will need to be limited depending on.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So the kibble is already quite high in calcium. If kibble is only one part of your meal, then yes, you can add a little bit of calcium in form of bone powder. For 6 months, I would say 1 teaspoon of bone powder.
1 teaspoon. Okay. Thanks a lot, Gariman. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Awesome. Cool. So I think we've addressed all the hands that were raised. I'm just going through the chat. Meanwhile, if anybody has any last question or something, we can kind of go through that. There's a couple of quick ones. Maybe you can just take that. Is sardine fish oil good for beagle puppy for shedding and coat issues for daily use? Arpita, what do you think?
Sardine oil is great, yeah, for omega-3. For omega-6, you can add wheat germ oil. What usually happens in home cooked diets is that omega-6 is also lacking and people only focus on omega-3. So for omega-6, you can go for a wheat germ oil.
Understood. Cool. And there was another one on, is there some kind of vegetarian gravy / stock that we can make at home? I remember you were telling me, Arpita?
I'll have to share the recipe for this.
I remember you were telling me about fermented vegetable something, right? Basically that achar version for dogs. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about that.
That they will have to add a limitation though, just like maybe 1 tablespoon or something, because it has a lot of salt also. So basically you need to like ferment the vegetables in water and salt. So this brine. Usually what people ferment is cabbage and carrots, and you can also Google these recipes. It's available on YouTube also. Yeah, so but without the spices and all.
Got it. Yeah, so it's kimchi but not spicy basically.
Also add chili powder and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I think more or less chat wale sare ho gaye. One question Vanna had, which one should I pick from NND for 7-month-old Shih Tzu? Is there a specific one or?
7-month-old, yeah. Shih Tzu, the mini breed one.
Mini breed, cool.
But there are this chicken and lamb and all. So if you've never been on an NND diet, start with chicken pomegranate variant, not the lamb one.
Understood. Cool. And I think Manu has a question, right? I saw you raising your hand. Go for it.
Yeah. So it's a follow-up question, Garima. You had mentioned about the bone powder. So there is a bone powder. Canine India has this a pottery to begin with. So you told Vishwas that 1 teaspoon. Yeah. So 1 teaspoon. So now for Pixie, because it's a toy breed, it will be stagnant. It'll be the same quantity that I will mix it in food.
So are you feeding kibble also?
No, not now.
So you will need more calcium then, right? In that case, I think 2 teaspoons, but you can also ask Canine India for the proper dosage. They usually tell the dosage according to the dog breed size and everything.
So let's say that I'm giving her paneer, then I can mix that powder with paneer.
Yes, you can also like pour it over the food also. That's also
okay. And can we do? We don't give milk. Okay, but if my daughter is having almond milk, which is freshly taken almond milk, can we take almond? Can we give almond milk to Pixie?
So this is homemade?
No, not homemade, but fresh, no preservatives.
Okay.
We get in bottle form.
I don't know what kind of reaction there will be. So maybe
she's been having it, but I'm just asking.
She's not been having it, right? So
she's been having it.
She's been having it. Okay. So maybe 1 teaspoon or tablespoon, not more.
Okay. And someone mentioned that they're giving salmon oil, adding to food. Because Pixie doesn't take fish, and though we give her multivitamin oil, so is salmon oil additionally good?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So salmon oil, someone mentioned that they pour salmon oil 1 teaspoon over the food. So is salmon oil additionally good? Though we're giving her multivitamin, the bio oil, every day.
Okay, then in that case, don't feed the salmon oil, because salmon oil is very high in vitamin D, and the my bovine will also have vitamin D. So there can be a vitamin D toxicity. There can be other overlap of nutrients also.
Sure.
So in that case, I'll have to check. I think MyBow also has omega-3 and 6 included.
Yes,
so
they have.
don't- Yeah, so you don't need to separately add other oil. You can then increase saturated fats like ghee or paneer.
Okay. And last question, sorry, but do you we boil garlic के साथ हम chicken boil करते हैं, पर garlic देते नहीं है. Is garlic
No,
really
no,
bad
don't feed
for
garlic.
dogs? Okay.
Don't feed garlic, because if your dog does not have any take-off issue or anything, then there's no need to feed garlic whatsoever.
Okay.
Right?
While
And
boiling also, though we separate it now.
No, don't add garlic.
Okay, fair. Thanks.
All right. Anything else? I think we pretty much covered everything. Thank you everybody for joining in. What I will send as a follow-up email is the list of treats that I was talking about, and maybe links to bone powder and everything else if somebody wants to kind of look at it. Great. Thank you so much for joining in. We're hoping to do more of these regularly, so we'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Garima, and thank you.
Thank you,
Arpita. It was a
Garima.
fantastic
Thank you,
session.
Eternal Canine. It was very, very interactive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Waiting for the next one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
Garima. Bye, everyone.